woke up to in the house we're staying at. I added that one, but funny stuff. Hey guys.
What's up, dude?
Just making a video intro. Hey guys, welcome to sorry, were you gonna say something?
No.
Hey guys, welcome to today's video. So yesterday we had a great driving day at Poconos, and I had a few unfortunate incidents, not with the car, not with the truck, but with the SD card. I was trying to offload footage from the card to my laptop so I could start sending it to my wife so she could edit. And I put the card crooked in the wrong spot in the computer, and it went all the way inside into the motherboard area. And Kelly had to take apart my computer last night to get the card out, and I did not have time to extract all the footage and send it to my wife. So what you saw on yesterday's video was about a quarter of the footage that I actually have. So we decided, since today is a free day, we don't have any driving going on, I'm gonna send the rest of the stuff to my wife so she can make a good compilation of a lot of cool footage that we had on the 360 cam, the GoPro, some really good stuff. So today is gonna be part 2 of the footage that I have from yesterday, for that reason. I could lie to you and say it's just because we're trying to be like cool, but it's not. It's because I couldn't get the footage off the cards. Also, we don't have a lot going on today, so that should make it an interesting video. So at the end of the day yesterday, if you saw in the video, my clutch was making some bad noises. It got worse and worse and worse and worse. We were able to drive it the 30 minutes to go pick up the trailer from Rob's house. And basically the car needs to go on a lift. We have to pull the transmission out. Luckily, Pinto and I are fully trained in taking the transmission out. We struggled to figure it out, but I think we know just how to get it in and out. I brought a spare bearing with us, so if we have a pilot bearing issue, we were just speculating that it might be a slave cylinder. That was my my thought.
I'll kill you! You take all my ideas and flush them down the toilet, and then you call a plumber and he sucks them back up, and now they're on the table.
And I'll take it. That's my idea.
Oh, that's terrible.
So, anyways, we got to see what's going on. We have 2 extra clutch discs. We have a whole extra clutch
I have no idea what
plate. We don't have an extra flywheel, but like there's only so many things that can be wrong. And Kelly actually thinks it's probably the slave cylinder, the T56 slave. And I think based on what was going on, I think I'm on board with that. Either way, we're pulling the transmission out today, so I'll have some footage of that later. And we needed a throttle position sensor. And so my buddy Matt actually somehow miraculously lives between here, where we are in Stamford, Connecticut, and Max's house somewhere in New York. It's right along the way. So it couldn't have been worked out more perfectly. We can stop by, grab a TPS from Matt. He's like a Jay-Z parts specialist, and he just parts out and has tons of parts. We just happen to be in his neighborhood. So that's the plan for today. I'm gonna say cue the driving footage now. There are a couple things I wanted to point out in the videos. One is the crash that I had with Devin Cruzet. Another one is with fielding driving my car. I've got a 360 cam shot of fielding by behind the wheel and the outside of the car. Really cool. I borrowed his mount. He showed me how to put this mount, like it's stuck way out the side of the car, but it makes for some really awesome footage. So check that out right here. Forgot to mention about the lap I did with, I think Brian was behind me. I tried to chuck it really hard and I bent a tie rod. to first. Oops. Sorry, car. It's a JZ, so no problem. 10,000 RPM, no problem. It's all right.
All right.
Go, go, go! All right, so that's the problem we have to deal with today, whatever that is. After taking off the side skirt, look at all this junk. We got front tire dust. It like comes off in chunks because they're really, really good sticky tires. With a mixture of rocks from the Pennsylvania roads after the snowstorm. And what is this, like grass and trees and bushes and weeds all mixed together. And the side skirt was also full, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Anyways, we're here at Max Kimlin's shop. It was very nice of him to allow us to come pull the trans here. This is wonderful working conditions compared to what we'd be doing on the side of the road or anywhere else. So big shout out to Max. There's his awesome car there waiting to be put back together. Looks like a super cool build, but that's not my place to show that. So we're about to get started. Again? Okay. So I don't know exactly what that noise was or what's going on in there, but it didn't sound good at all. We don't see anything that looks weird, like, or out of place or anything. The slave cylinder looks okay. The clutch looks okay. The discs are moving. All the bolts look tight. Nothing looks out of balance or anything weird like that. The noise sounded like it was coming from inside the box, the transmission. So the only thing I can think of is if the front pilot bearing is not supporting the front of the shaft, it might get out of balance and make that gnarly noise. And then when you let the clutch out, it like self-centers again and is supported by the disc being clamped. I don't know, it's just speculation, but either way, we gotta pull that transmission out and see what's going on. Let's see how this goes. I think we'll do a time lapse. Ready? Go. So we've been trying to pry the transmission apart and it's stuck. It won't come out. So my best guess is that there's something wrong with either the throwout bearing that's holding it in there, not the throwout bearing, the pilot bearing that's like stuck to the input shaft, or something's wrong with the splines of the input shaft versus the discs, and they're kind of stuck on there. They won't rotate or they won't move back and forth.
It's more difficult now.
Another thing that we had was when we were pushing the clutch in while it was running, one of the discs would stop spinning. The one closest to the engine would continue to spin even with the clutch released. So I don't know if that one's got jacked on the spline somehow and causing it not to allow the input shaft to slide out. Either way, something like that's going on. We're gonna find out in a minute. We may have to unbolt the clutch with the transmission still on to get it out. Did it move? A little bit. I better put this down and help out.
we're making bets. We have 2 bets on the roll right now. They're live. Now, the first bet is the transmission bad or is the transmission good? That's it. There's
Usable or not usable?
Yeah, exactly.
Usable but bad.
Usable but bad is still usable.
It's still usable.
Yeah,
We're drawing a line.
I'm the first one that said that.
Okay.
So he's kind of teetering. He doesn't want to put the.
Because you know me, I'll put a bad trans back in if it'll go.
Oh yeah.
So I still consider that a good trans. It was probably bad when I put it in there in the first place. Okay, carry on.
The other bet is whether or not the clutch discs or the pilot bearing is our problem for why the trans won't come out.
Did I talk about that?
No.
I don't know if I did. The transmission won't come off. I think I did. The transmission won't separate from the engine. And we're not sure if the pilot bearing is like stuck to the input shaft and stopping it on the clutches, or if the clutches are stuck to the input shaft, stopping it from coming out. So we're unbolting the clutch, kind of like a pull style clutch would be, and then pulling the whole thing off. So the clutch will be attached to the input shaft, kind of like a torque converter would. And that'll make it so everything comes off, and then we can actually inspect and see. So the 2 bets.
2 bets, clutch or pilot bearing, or and transmission, good or bad. $5 on each bet. Me and P2 agree. Brandon's on the opposing side.
On both bets.
On both bets. So either we.
I think the
I can agree with both because the clutch have a problem and I know it.
Yeah, but
It's not came out because of the bearing.
Yeah. We're being specific. I think the trans is bad, and I think the splines are stopping the clutch from coming out. These guys think that the bearing's stopping the clutch from coming out, and that the transmission is good.
When you have to spend money, why not make it fun and make it a little bit more money? That's the noise.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
So this disc is toast. I cheated a little bit because I've had this exact thing happen before. But this disc is stuck on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
that spun and damaged the
we
splines. Oh, we need to hit it inward.
Yeah.
And then pull it back.
And then we'll probably have to file those down a little bit. So this is why I thought the trans was bad. Because if those are jacked up, then maybe we can't put a disc on there again.
problem is the bearing.
Hold on.
We need to hit it. Yeah. What if we slide a pipe over it or something, you know?
Yeah, we can do that. Do you have a jack handle? You bring the jack. Oh, there's one right there. It won't take much.
No, it shouldn't.
I mean, there's no way.
These were the clutches that were bent too, huh? You think it's related at all? No.
Oh my god. Okay. It has not moved.
Are you sure it's not hitting anything? It's not hitting that pin on that? I mean this, you don't think this is hitting anything? Why did you want to do it that way instead of the other way?
Just because I didn't want to flare this with the hammer.
I got you. You think it's okay?
Seems like.
Yeah,
Okay.
it should go straight through.
It's moved, I think. No, it's not moving.
Give it a good one.
Dang. Good whack.
Wait. Do we have that stuff that Robert gave us?
Yes.
Go get it.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's like.
All right, so here's what we've got figured out so far. The splines of the clutch are toasted, right? That's a given. We already figured that part out. We've got a few splines left on here, so we're gonna try and reuse this disc. Yeah, it's probably stupid, but we're doing it. Also on here, this is a lot harder metal. It looks like there's not much damage here. All we gotta do is file those a little bit so the clutch slips on and off easily. You can see they're kind of tapered, but I don't think that's damaged. That's originally how they come because the opposite side has the same taper on it, just not damaged. So, the problem originated from the way this twin disc fits on here. You see these splines aren't very long. If these splines were that much longer on this side, then we'd have zero issue. But the splines start so far back, it's hard to fit two discs on there. So you can see, based on the damage, that the disc Stop it, Kelly. The disc was sitting right about there. So it didn't have full engagement. If it had full engagement on there, it never would have stripped out. All it took was a couple of fielding shredder third gear clutch kicks to finish off this disc. And it was the lap after that it actually failed. So I think what we're going to do is, if you look at this one, this is designed to be the disc closest to the transmission. And you see it has a lot more protrusion on that side, where this one has no protrusion, right? Or very little protrusion. So I want to try and use this disc on the back side. So basically stack them like this, which is not how it's meant to go, but I think we can make it work that way because that will give us more engagement on the back side, which we have a problem with. But we measured it out. It looks like we need to cut 1 millimeter off this side and cut 1 millimeter off this side. And we can afford to do that here because it's already missing the splines anyways, so we're not really giving up much. And this has plenty of spline engagement, so we can afford to give it up there. That's the plan. We're going to go to a machine shop and have them cut that earlier in the day so we can test it out and see if it works. If it doesn't work, we'll pull it back apart. And we have 2 new discs. Now I know what you're saying, just like Kelly said. If you have 2 new discs, why would you not put the 2 new discs on? Well, let me tell you why. Because all we can do with the 2 new discs is put it exactly how it was before, and it's going to fail again. And I don't want to cut the 2 new discs when we have a possibility of failure, or by cutting them might affect being able to go back to where we started from. So we know that if we put it back together exactly how these ones failed, we have at least a few track days worth of time before it fails again. And like I said on this trip, my whole goal is to make it to clutch kickers and do well. I want to have a backup plan, which is the 2 new discs. So we're going to mess around with these discs for now and see if we can make it work. And if it works good, then we'll leave it alone. One of the other plans we have is to cut 2 millimeters off of the bell housing. By cutting off of the face of the bell housing, it will essentially put the flywheel, or the trans, however you look at it, 2 millimeters deeper on here, which will give us 2 millimeters more of engagement on those. Now, the only effect that will have, it will put the tip of the input shaft closer to the crankshaft. If we need to, we can cut 2 millimeters off of there with a grinder. The other thing besides that, it will move the location of the trans mount, the shifter, and the drive shaft. By 2 millimeters is not even anything to worry about at all. The one other thing it's going to affect is the proximity of the clutch release bearing, slave cylinder, to the clutch itself. And I measured all that stuff before we left, and I know for sure we had at least 2 millimeters worth of play. So I'm not worried about any of that. We're going to do that all tomorrow, test fit it, make sure everything works, start the car, run it. And if it doesn't work, then it's only another couple hours to pull the whole thing back apart and go with plan B, plan C, plan D, whatever it takes to make it happen. But we have a full day tomorrow to work on this, so that's the plan. We're going to take all this stuff tomorrow, find a machine shop, have as much work done as we can. Hopefully they can do everything all at once, and we're not driving all around New York trying to find that. One other thing I wanted to point out was the D-spare bearing that we put in here. It's a steel bearing, and as opposed to the aluminum ones that come with the kits, and it has a needle bearing inside of it. This is the original bearing, and we've had multiple problems with clutch and other stuff on this car, and the bearing has always remained intact. So this is what I love about having a steel bearing as opposed to a aluminum bearing, because it doesn't get wallowed out. It's really strong, and it holds up to all sorts of abuse.
So, you saw we messed up a clutch and we're going to fix it tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, do the notification bell. I don't know which side of the camera I'm on, but I hope the right one. We'll see you tomorrow with more beautiful content.